Hi guys, it's NG10 Reports. I'm here with the lovely Carmen today. She's agreed to do an interview with me as an ex-employee at the Bestwestern Hotel in Long Eaton. So Carmen, tell us a little bit about yourself and when you started working there.
I'm 52.
Yeah.
I've got two lovely daughters that live with me and a grandson and another grandson on the way in 2 weeks time. I started working at the Best Western in May of 2023 and I resigned in January of 2025.
So back in 2023, when you first took the job on, what made you choose to work at a migrant facility? Was it that it was just that you needed the money, it was a nearby and convenient job, or?
Yeah, at the time, I was a carer. So I was self-employed. I worked for a lovely lady caring for her mum, and unfortunately she got really ill and passed away very quickly, and I was left without a job. And with two daughters and a grandchild to support, I needed a job fast. And that day I searched and the Best Western job came up, which was ideal because it was round the corner. I went for a job interview. I got the job straight away because of my qualifications. I didn't know it was a migrant hotel when I applied for the job, but I was told about it when I went for interview. It didn't really bother me. We was told that we were safe. We had security on. We didn't have close contact with them. So, I knew it would be all right. And I started working there.
Yeah, so what was your role when you worked at the hotel?
When I first started, I was a kitchen assistant. Then I went for my NVQ level 3 to become a chef. And after 7 months, I went into being a chef there. So I was cooking all the food.
You was cooking the food. And I know you've mentioned that the people there were on 3 meals a day. And did that hotel provide the snack bags for the rooms as well? Yeah, or unlimited fruit and teas and coffee and all that stuff.
Biscuits.
Also, they get biscuits as well. What about phones? How are the phones? Do the phone situation work?
When they come in, they get given phones. I think the government provide the phones for them with SIM cards. So they get a phone.
So they get given a phone at arrival to the hotel.
And they also get a bank card. It's like a foreign bank card where an allowance gets put onto their account each week. So they have money to go out and spend.
And then what about, hello, Pussycat. So what about takeaways and things like that? I know I've delivered takeaways to the site personally myself.
Yes, they have 3 takeaways a week. They have them on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And the guy who does it, he's got a family-run business. It used to be another guy that had his own restaurant in Ice and Green, but his contract ended, and then
so they was like delivering takeaways on a contract basis.
On a contract basis,
Right, okay.
So his contract ended, and this new guy, I mean, he's been working there for a couple of years now. So I know Nottinghamshire Live and Derbyshire Live post that there's 161 asylum seekers living in that hotel. But the last I knew, which was approximately about 4 weeks ago, there was close to 192 living there.
Oh, so they are overpopulated.
Because they do sneak them in at night time now, where eyes can't see them coming.
Oh, fair enough.
And because my ex-fiance works there and he worked nights, he'd come home in the morning and say that he had 15 new arrivals turn up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, they're close to full house capacity. I think they can hold 200 in total, so they're close to full house capacity. And the delivery guy, he gets paid £5 a head.
What, to drop them off?
For the takeaways. So if he's serving food for 200 people.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I calculated it at about £156,000 a year he's getting, and that's probably 20 years worth of work for me.
I can believe it.
And that's all paid by the government.
And that's the takeaways that the hotels are providing. On top of that, I used to work for a takeaway quite local to the hotel, and we used to deliver at least one, sometimes two lots of deliveries almost every day. And it would be lads with, you know, fresh trainers on, fresh clothes on, more money than me in their wallets, and they was paying a tenner each for a pizza, and they'd have 3 pizzas at once.
Because some of them don't like the food. So for breakfast, they get an hot meal for breakfast. Whether it's vegan sausages, they get like potato cubes, scrambled egg, fried eggs. Then they help themselves to toast and cereal, so they get that. They get
pretty
juice.
much like a vegetarian hotel breakfast that you have in any sort of like travel lodge.
Or they have to have halal meat. And then for lunch, they get a 3-course lunch, so they have 2 choices of hot meal. They have a salad bar that's open with all different kinds of salads. They get a pudding as well, and then at tea time they get the same again. They get another hot meal and a pudding and a side. But they used to come in and say that they didn't like the food, we treat them like dogs, they'd throw chairs, they'd come in our faces and say that.
And this was all just in the grill portion?
This was in the grill
side. So what was security like during meal times? Did they have active security in the...
Yes, so they have 2 security that work there. One would come over into the restaurant during meal times, and one would stay in the main building during meal times. And if there was any trouble, then security would radio through to Serco to get Serco to come down. They used to kick off that much that Serco then decided that they was going to spend the whole meal time in the restaurant.
Oh, so Serco themselves are there?
Yeah.
And is that ongoing as far as you're aware?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. So sorry, I'll try again. You were promised protection when signing the contract, but they still managed to sort of be throwing chairs around, made yourself feel threatened.
They'd always get angry, or you know, even just things like somebody pushed in the queue would start an argument, and fights would break out on the restaurant floor, and we used to have to radio through to Serco and security and everybody to come, and then Serco would come down and take that person away and talk with them, and then they'd probably come back and then sit down and eat the meal when things had calmed down.
And when they were fighting, did it get as far as, was it just pushing and shoving, or were they throwing full hands? Or
they could throw chairs about sometimes, but it was mainly pushing and shoving and swearing and shouting in their own language.
So you never seen it actually like come to blows yourself between the
No, I used to stay in the kitchen out the way.
I can't say I blame you.
Not getting involved in that.
So obviously you did have some security on site, which is good, but it didn't stop you feeling intimidated at certain times while you was working there. And how did the different ethnic groups within the hotels mix? Did they sort of keep to themselves in like little enclaves, or did they sort of mix together?
You'd have like certain groups, like you'd probably have 8 or 10 that would all sit round the table because they knew each other. But you'd have some that wouldn't sit in that side because they didn't like somebody, so they'd go and sit up in the top restaurant.
And did you see like ethnic divides between those groups? So was it like a group of perhaps Afghanis and then a group of Somalians that didn't mix very well, or?
I don't really. You see, I don't really know their ethnics and their backgrounds. So
I suppose just working in the kitchen.
When I took food out and you seen them, you would see, you know, the same groups come in every day and sit on their own tables.
Yeah. So when you was working in the hotel, what did the security seem like as far as I think they call them service users now, don't they?
Yeah.
in terms of when they were leaving, coming, going, was there any checks? Were they ever, was there a sign in or sign out process,
No,
or was it
nothing.
just
No,
completely
they
free
just
to come
come.
and go?
Yeah, just come and go. I do know that some would stop out, and if they was gone for more than 8 days, there was classed as AWOL,
Yeah.
and then it had to get reported to migrant help. But they'd turn up eventually. Where they stay, I don't know. They clearly have somewhere to stay when
Yeah.
they're disappearing for 8 days. And obviously that room's still being paid for while they've gone AWOL. I mean, I know when I went into a women's refuge after domestic violence, that I had to get written permission if I wanted to go and stay at one of my daughter's houses.
Yeah,
and if I didn't, I got kicked out.
was there any curfew that you're aware of at the hotel?
curfew
Any
at all,
hours? So
no.
if you're homeless in this country, obviously you get put into a hostel if you're lucky enough.
You have to be back by 10 o'clock
by 10
at
o'clock,
night. Yeah, and you have to be out by a certain time in the morning. You want a lad in the building during the day, because I used to go to my daughter's. But then if I wanted to stay there, I used to have written permission. If I didn't have written permission, I wasn't allowed to stay out. But the migrants can stay out for up to 8 days without being reported to migrant help.
I really didn't think it would be as long as 8 days myself, but that's a shocking fact. Whether that's the same at every hotel, I can't say, but at the one that you worked at, that's what you witnessed. And did you ever have any absconders that didn't return that you heard of? And
there has been a couple of absconders there,
just gone to the wind.
Yeah, it has been reported, and never been found since.
So,
I think we had one not long after I first started that absconded, and he turned up in Germany or somewhere. I know he was like, it was a million miles away.
They've obviously got networks that they can use to travel.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they've all got money.
Yeah.
They've all got money. I mean, you see them in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, you see them all get on the bus to go to Nottingham. Clearly they're going to work.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere else at 7 o'clock in the morning.
What was the police presence like while you was working there? Was it frequent visits from the police?
The only time there'd be police presence was if there was fights amongst the issues, or if they'd smash the rooms up, because a lot of them would smash the rooms up, pull the TVs off the walls.
And did you ever hear like reasonings behind that, or was it just they got a bit mad and decided to?
No, we didn't really get involved in that side. What happened in the hotel?
Kitchen. Yeah, that's understandable. But what about other services? I know when we first spoke, you mentioned about doctors' visits. So what can you tell us about that?
West Park and Wire. They go once a week. They spend they either go in the morning or afternoon. So they literally spend the whole morning there or the whole afternoon, and they will have a list of like 20 of the issues. So they'll go through that list and they'll see each and every one of them. Make sure that they, any health problems they got, any medications they need, that they get all that sorted. I can't even get into a doctor's.
No. And what about dentists? Do they have dentist visits? So we all know how hard it is to get a dentist.
If they have dentist visits, we can't travel. Well, I can't travel. I don't drive to go to a dentist. And I've actually got a wisdom tooth that's snapped in half, that's causing me lots of problems. But I can't drive. But the issues, the government pay for taxes.
Oh, so the taxes take them to
the taxes,
from the
they will
services.
take them and bring them back, and that's all paid for through the government.
Yeah. We've heard a lot in the news recently as well about cases of TB amongst and other diseases amongst service users.
I think we
migrants.
had one service user in the Best Western that had TB. We had quite a few that had scabies.
Yeah.
And most of the rooms was absolutely laced in bed bugs. So
was there like regular fumigation of the rooms having to go on as well at presumably an extra cost to the taxpayer?
Yeah.
Moving on, obviously they have they are definitely a drain on public resources. As for the safety of the community, I know your daughter had, at the very least, an unsettling experience.
Yeah.
Are you happy to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I mean, she doesn't go out very often anyway, but her friend lives in Nottingham, so she'd gone out this particular day. It was a red hot day. She'd gone and met a friend up in Nottingham, and they went off and did their own thing. And then her friend come back with her in the evening, so they got the bus to Brygate. And when they got on the bus, there weren't many people on there. And my daughter says it was a few stops, about 4 or 5 stops after when she got on the bus. There was 3 asylum seekers that got on the bus. And they were sat at the back of the bus. Now, they both had shorts on and vest tops.
Yeah, it was a hot
because it
day
was
and-
a hot day, and they were sat at the back of the bus. And these 3 immigrants sat on the seats in front of the long back seat. One sat, they all sat on separate seats. And they kept turning round and looking at my daughter and her friends and looking their bodies up and down, which made them both feel a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But they was both.
How old was your daughter at the
She
time?
was 16. She's
16,
here now.
yeah.
She's come out. So they was all talking in their own language, and they kept looking at my daughter and her friend and looking at the legs and laughing, which made them feel really uncomfortable. But one of the guys kept putting his hand down and trying to touch my daughter's leg.
Yeah.
And she phoned me up. She was literally at Briargate, and she phoned me up and she told me, and she says they'd literally got off the bus stop, the one before Briargate, so they'd got on the one on the main road, Longmore Road. And she seen them cross over the road and cross on the side to the Best Western. And she told me that she was too scared to get off the bus. So I left home and ran up and met them both at the bus stop.
Yeah.
And she come back, she told me everything that happened. So I phoned the police. We phoned her friends, mum and dad. They came in car and picked her up because she was too scared to go back home on the bus.
I can't blame her at all.
And the police came out was it a week or so after the incident? A lady came out to talk to you, didn't she? And then she phoned Megan up after Megan made a statement and says that she would contact Trent Barton for CCTV footage. Then we waited a few weeks, and then they contacted Megan again and said that they'd been in contact with the bus depot, and unfortunately the CCTV was not working on the bus at that time. But I was still working at the Best Western then, so no police went up to the Best Western to investigate. I mean, I phoned Best Western up and I said, look, this has happened on the bus not this long ago. 3 guys, I described what they looked like, what they was wearing. They then said that they looked through the camera and nobody walked into the Best Western matching them descriptions, but she clearly seen them on that side.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, the Best Western, there's no
absolutely
road.
nothing else
so
on
for
that
them
side
to
of the
across,
road.
because we was unsure whether they lived at the Best Western or at the Novotel at the time, because both hotels was open, but they actually crossed over.
Yeah.
So they was clearly going to the Best Western, and that was the end of that. Nothing happened.
And you never had any more response
We
from
never
the
had no
police
more
or
response,
anything?
no.
Not even a community outreach checking that
nothing.
your daughter was okay?
Nothing at all. But then it made her feel that she couldn't get on a bus by herself no more, because she was too scared of, if any of the immigrants get on the bus, is it going to happen again, or they're going to get away with it again?
Yeah, definitely. So what's that done for your trust in the police in the UK? Has that made a big difference?
Yeah, because my girls now say that if anything happens, they won't contact the police because nothing gets done anyway. What's the point? They have to go through the stress of sitting there and repeating what's happened.
Exactly, to not be taken seriously.
And then they get no support, and it just gets pushed under the carpet. So it is true. And I understand where they're coming from. Why should you get the local authorities involved when they're not interested?
That's it. It does leave you questioning, if the police aren't interested in dealing with things like this, where are people to turn? What is the next step?
Yeah.
And I think as you got in touch with me when there was through my video that showed quite a few angry locals protesting at the Bestwestern. Do you think we will be seeing vigilantism if the police continue to ignore situations like this?
I've always said for months and months and months, with the way this government are, with the way they're lying to us, because they are lying to us, you know, this one in, one out, it's a load of crap. And we all know it's a load of crap, because that one that went out laughed in the cameras' faces and said that he'd be back. And what did he do? He came back. He came straight back. So he told the truth. The government want you to wear what they want you to wear. And we all know that none of it's true. We all know they're still coming in. The Bestwestern's just won another year's contract only a couple of months ago.
Oh, so much for them all being closed by Christmas.
Yeah, they've just won another. And then you get Starmer saying that he'll have them all out within a year, and he's offering them more money to leave. Well, I'm sorry, but why are they offering them money to leave? They came here free of charge.
It's like we had the guy from the Epping Hotel that did the sexual offences. The amount he was paid to leave the country was a year's salary in Ethiopia, where he was being sent back to. So that would be the equivalent of us being paid £25,000.
Yeah, which is absolutely shocking. And he sexually assaulted a young girl.
Yeah,
you know,
and now if he used that money sensibly, could be set for life in Ethiopia.
And then
as a
you
reward.
hear about human rights. Well, I'm sorry, but sex offenders, murderers, and doesn't it actually state on the government's act, whatever it is, that if you go to prison, you lose all human rights?
I couldn't tell you 100% what it says on the government website. I'll have to have a look into that
you
one.
have a look at that.
But at the end of the day, if you behave like an animal, I don't think you should be subject to the same human rights as everybody else.
It's £25,000 go on your way.
Yeah, for him, I think he was paid £500 to literally to not kick off on the aeroplane to be compliant. And that was equivalent to a year's wages in Ethiopia.
It's absolutely shocking.
And some migrants have been, through other news reports, been paid up to £3,000 to leave the country.
Yeah.
It's
but they came here. Let's all feel sorry for them because they came in on a boat. But that was their choice. But what they don't tell is the whole story is that they've probably paid £5,000 for their seat on that boat to come to this country.
Yeah, and a lot of people assume that these payments are made in cash, but then we see weapons caches on the shores of Calais.
If they've got £5,000 to have a seat on that boat to come over, then why don't they just get on a plane, which is going to probably cost them £300 to come over?
Exactly. And as for showing up with purposefully with no documents whatsoever,
because they're throwing them in the ocean.
That's it. They are thrown in the channel as they are crossing, and only the official numbers are only made up of those that are caught during the crossing and brought in by the Coast Guard. But there are the RNLI. But there are reports in quieter parts of the south coast where boats are landing completely unchecked and of weapons being brought into the country, drugs being brought into the country.
But they smoke drugs. They set the fire alarms off in the Bestwestern, and when the alarms go off, Serco have to go up to the rooms because the smoke alarms are going off, and quite a few of the rooms smell of marijuana. So they've got money to buy drugs, and they're getting drugs from somewhere, and they clearly smoke them in the rooms of the hotel.
So when they are smoking cannabis in the hotel, what is there any sort of punishment for that?
They get written warnings.
And what does a written warning?
A written warning will tell them that if they're caught smoking it in the rooms again, it will go down on their file. It will go to the Home Office. and the police will be called, but the police don't do anything.
Do they ever have anything confiscated or anything like that? Are they?
Not that I know of.
No, fair enough.
Because when Circa go and Circa do room checks, but they're not allowed to go into drawers or look in drawers or anything. They literally just go in and look.
It has to be on the
see.
surface.
Yeah.
So they're not even, they could have anything stashed away in their rooms, as I guess that's how we see situations like, I believe her name was Rhiannon.
Yeah, so I mean, when that situation happened, we had a massive meeting at the Best Western, and we was all told that when we left or when we arrived to work, we had to get taxis to and from work or car share. And we had to do that for a couple of weeks.
And was that expected to come out of your own pocket?
No, if we got taxes, then we handed receipts in and was reimbursed the money. But if we could car share, then car share for our own protection, because that was quite scary.
Yeah, so when a migrant has been out of the hotel for 8 days, finally comes back, or even just for a day, there's no way of knowing. There's seemingly no checks as to whether they've brought weapons into the hotel, drugs into the hotel.
No, nobody gets searched.
No, there's never a search. Has there ever been a case that you've heard of like a room actually being flipped to look for a weapon or to look for drugs or anything like that?
No, we did have an immigrant that lived there. He was sectioned in the end, and then he was put on medication and moved to a different hotel. You might remember him. He always used to walk around Long Eaton with a great big, looked like he had a great big sheet on his head. Well, he absolutely annihilated his bedroom. He caused over £20,000 worth of damage. The bed was pinned up against the wall. He smeared black all over the walls. He literally didn't sleep in the bed. There was a great big hole in the ceiling where he'd ripped all the ceiling. And after he left, they obviously went into the room and they went up, and there was knives and all sorts that he hid in the ceiling. So that was quite scary.
Yeah,
it was. But yeah, he caused over £20,000 worth of damage to one room.
Blimey. I know when I did an investigation around the Best Western, I went and had a little look around, nose around myself, and I found in the back corner of the car park, well, it's not the car park, where they smoke and sit around.
Yeah.
There was loads of furniture. Is that original Best Western furniture that's sort of like supposed to be in storage? They look like sofa beds, perhaps, that have been piled up. Or would they be damaged?
I don't know, they're probably damaged, yeah. Because I do know they had a lot of mattresses around there as well through bed bugs.
Oh, fair enough.
So they had to replace mattresses.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got the great big container units as well, aren't they? I mean,
I did see them. I didn't have a
they're all the way around the back.
Yeah. We went and had a quick nosy around the kitchen bins and that, and I see many brands of food that I recognise from working in takeaways. So people that are saying, oh, it's equivalent to prison food. If that's what our prisoners have had, then I might go and get myself locked up for a nice treat.
Curry and rice and chicken biryani and chicken tikka. They get all sorts.
Yeah.
Chips every night. And you know, if they want to live in England, they have to accept the types of food we eat in England.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. They want the foods that they're used to eating in their own countries.
So what's when they were, was there sort of things that, like, when they were on the menu, a good enough portion of them would just say, no, we're not eating that they had to be scrapped and things like that?
If they refused to eat it, they refused to eat it. And then we was asked to make them bags up, which would be a sandwich, pot noodle, crisp fruit, biscuits. So then they'd get a grab bag and that would be made up for them.
That'd be all made up for them, fair enough. And with regards to like cleaning the rooms, was there a cleaning service for like bed changing and things like that, or was there any responsibility on the migrants?
They've got in-house cleaners that work in the hotel side itself, so they went in and cleaned them. I don't really know, when it comes to bed changing and that, but I do know that they've got, Best Western's got their own cleaners that go in and clean the rooms that normally go in 2 by 2 because they're not allowed in the rooms by themselves.
Fair enough. And to those people that say the hotel's not a threat to the community, evidently you've got personal experience to the contrary. What's the worst story you've heard from within the hotel regarding the service users or what they've done in the community? Is there anything you've sort of heard through your experiences?
Well, while I was working there, one of the issues had a problem with the supervisor that worked in the grill. They clearly clashed every time he come in, and a lot of the time he used to come in, he had to be supervised with Serco because he'd kick off, and he threatened to rape her. And she was really upset. She was that upset that she was even thinking of leaving. So I know that they took action and they moved him out the hotel and moved him. I don't know where they moved him, but quite far away from here, I know it was.
Yeah.
But I know he was arrested. And I think he did admit that he did say that he was going to rape her. So yeah, they got him out. They got him out fast.
So it's quite a violent mindset, the people that you're dealing with in the hotels. To suddenly come out and threaten someone with rape is a horrible thing to do.
Yeah, of course it is.
And God knows if it was in a less viewed environment, how things could have gone differently.
She was traumatized. She was seriously thinking about she don't work there no more. She's left now, but she was seriously thinking about resigning because it terrified her.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, having male privilege is being able to walk around with without that kind of fear and threat of violence. I can only imagine how a woman would feel in that situation.
Yeah.
But someone threatening to rape me would still put fear into myself. So as a female in that situation, I can only imagine how awful that would make you feel and how scared that would make you feel. I can imagine possibly a couple of sleepless nights.
Yeah, definitely.
And some trauma to her. So after sticking around through the threats and witnessing some violence, did you continue to work there after the incident with your daughter, or was that after you left the hotel?
No, that was last summer. I didn't leave the hotel until January of this year.
So, what was the final straw that broke the camel's back when it came to leaving the hotel?
The stress, because it is a stressful job, very stressful. You know, when you're in that kitchen and you can hear them screaming and shouting, and it is terrifying. It is, and it made me so poorly. I started having panic attacks, quite a lot of panic attacks. And then I had a suspected heart attack, and it was like I couldn't do it no more. I went off on sick then. I had the suspected heart attack in the November because it's just come up on my memories, and then I went on sick until the January, and I sat here and I thought I can't do it. I can't go back. And I left myself out of work for 3 months until I found a new job. But I just couldn't do it because my daughter came with me on the day I resigned. My oldest daughter came up with me and she spoke with the manager and she said, look, my mum was so healthy before she worked in this place. Now she's got a bad heart. I could have died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At that job, and enough was enough. I had to get out and I had to put my own health first. So that's what I did.
I can't say I blame you. So you've had long-standing health problems since working there
I'm on
through the
medication
stress.
now for the rest of my life. I have to carry an angina spray around with me at all times now to keep it in my pocket, just in case anything happens. But that is all due to stress.
Yeah, and obviously that's had an effect on your mental health as well.
Yeah, of course it has.
Are you much more happier in your new job
I
now and
absolutely
well
love
settled
my
in?
new job. I love my new job. I work in a care home now, and you know, I'm not chefing no more. I've handed my towel in for chefing,
Yeah,
and I'm just taking it easy. And I'm a kitchen assistant, and I do activities as well, and I love it. I love
well,
it.
hopefully that continues to be great for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, unless there's anything else you'd like to say about the hotel or your time there, I think we've got everything. We've just been over the half an hour mark. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, does it at all?
No, it don't.
So thank you very much for speaking to me. Obviously, guys, we have had to blur Carmen's face for privacy reasons. So we all understand that. If you've had anything that's new information to you, thanks to Carmen, let us know down in the comments what that's made you feel, or what's news to you, anything that's surprised you or shocked you. And make sure you all say thank you very much to Carmen for agreeing to speak to us today, because it's a brave thing to do, and talking out about things like that isn't easy, especially when it comes to your family members and stuff. So we're NG10 Reports. Make sure you give us a like, comment and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook. If you want to send us a star, that's great, because that'll help fund the channel so we can do more things like this. But thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.